The celestial Voyager shuddered violently as another explosion rocked through its lower decks. Red warning lights flashed across every control panel on the bridge. Captain Zilvex gripped the edges of his command chair, his scaled skin turning a pale blue with stress. "Status report," he called out, his voice steady despite the chaos. First Officer Nixora glided quickly between stations, her slender Elysian form barely disturbing the air around her. "Multiple system failures, Captain. Engine core stability at 26% and falling. Life support compromised on decks 3 through 7. Another tremor ran through the ship. This time, several panels burst in showers of sparks. 2 crew members fell to the floor. "Can someone explain how a routine scan of an uninhabited asteroid belt led to this?" Captain Zilvex demanded. Chief Engineer Kolvat's voice crackled through the communication system. The Rylosian's breathy, methane-tinged speech was more agitated than usual. "The quantum flux stabilizers encountered an unknown energy signature. Before we could raise shields, something overloaded our main systems. I have never seen anything like this, Captain." The ship lurched again. The artificial gravity flickered, causing everyone to float momentarily before slamming back to the deck. "Engineering team reports unable to contain the cascade failures," reported Tactical Officer Vresh, all 4 of his arms working at different control panels simultaneously. "We are losing propulsion control." Captain Zilvex pulled up the star charts. They were in an uncharted region, far from any Confederation outposts. His compound eyes scanned the nearby systems. "There," he said, pointing to a yellow star with several planets. "That system has registered life signals. 3rd planet shows signs of technology." First Officer Nixora's antennae twitched nervously. "Captain, if I may, that's the newly discovered human homeworld. They only achieved spaceflight recently. They're barely at level 2 technological development." "Do we have alternatives, First Officer?" Captain Zilvex asked calmly. "No other inhabited systems within range," she admitted. "But these humans, they're Deathworlders, sir." A hush fell over the bridge despite the continued alarms. Every spacefaring species knew about Deathworlders, creatures evolved on planets with extreme gravity, high radiation, unpredictable weather, and abundant predators. Such beings were typically strong, aggressive, and unpredictable by necessity. "I've reviewed the preliminary reports," said Dr. Ilara, the ship's medical officer. The Lumidian's glowing skin pulsed softly as she spoke. "Humans evolved on a planet with nearly twice our standard gravity. Their world is bombarded with radiation from their sun. They survived ice ages and asteroid impacts. Their bodies contain microbes that would kill most of us." Another explosion sent tremors through the ship. This time, the lights dimmed completely before backup power engaged. "Engineering to bridge," Kolvat called, his voice now clearly panicked. "We're losing containment on the drive core. If we don't make repairs soon, we risk total system failure." Captain Zilvex didn't hesitate. "Set course for the human world. Send standard first contact protocols and distress signals on all frequencies." "Captain," Nixora protested, "the humans haven't been properly integrated into the Confederation. Their culture is fractured into hundreds of competing nation-states. They still wage war against each other. And their biology, they're simply too dangerous to bring aboard." "More dangerous than our ship exploding?" the captain asked pointedly. "The Confederation protocols are clear. In life-threatening emergencies, we may seek aid from any sentient species." Dr. Ilara stepped forward. "The reports also indicate humans show remarkable problem-solving abilities and adaptability, perhaps qualities we need right now." "Exactly," Captain Zilvex nodded. "Vresh, prepare a detailed engineering assessment to transmit to the humans. Dr. Ilara, I want you to compile biological safety protocols for potential human visitors." As the crew rushed to obey orders, Nixora approached the captain privately. "Sir, have you considered what will happen if the humans discover our quantum technology? Their species is known for violence. What if they use our own technology against us or others? Captain Zilvex looked at the main view screen, now showing the blue-green planet growing larger as they approached. Right now, First Officer, I'm more concerned with survival. If these Deathworlders can help us, we'll deal with the consequences later. The celestial Voyager limped toward Earth, trailing plasma and debris. While inside its failing systems, the alien crew prepared to meet humans for the first time. The alien ship's arrival caused chaos on Earth. Military jets scrambled, news channels broadcast nonstop, and social media exploded with videos of the damaged vessel limping into orbit. After 3 days of tense communication between the celestial Voyager and Earth's governments, NASA agreed to send help. Jack Peterson sat in the briefing room at Johnson Space Center, tapping his pen against his notepad. At 35, he wasn't what most people pictured when they thought NASA engineer. His beard was scruffy, his hair needed a cut, and he preferred jeans to pressed slacks. But Jack had a reputation for fixing the unfixable. "You understand this is completely voluntary," said Director Collins, looking around at the small group of engineers. "We have no idea what's on that ship. The aliens sent technical data, but most of it makes no sense to us." Most of the engineers looked down or away. No one wanted to be the first to volunteer for a potential suicide mission. Jack raised his hand. "I'll go." Director Collins didn't look surprised. "Peterson, should have known. Are you sure about this?" Jack shrugged. "Someone's got to do it. Besides, how many chances do you get to work on an alien spaceship?" 48 hours later, Jack was strapped into a seat on a modified SpaceX capsule, heading toward the damaged alien vessel. He carried only his personal toolkit and a specialized tablet loaded with all the technical data the aliens had sent. Approaching docking position, the pilot announced. "Get ready, Peterson. Your new friends are waiting." The docking procedure went smoothly, despite the aliens' unfamiliar technology. When the airlock opened, Jack took his first breath of alien air. It smelled like cinnamon and ozone. 3 creatures waited for him. Jack tried not to stare, but it was hard. The tallest had blue-scaled skin and compound eyes like an insect. Next to it stood a slender being with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer, with 2 delicate antennae on its head. The third was shorter, with multiple arms and what looked like a breathing apparatus covering the lower part of its face. "Welcome aboard the Celestial Voyager," said the blue-scaled alien in surprisingly good English. "I am Captain Zilvex. This is my First Officer Nixora and Chief Engineer Kulvat." Jack stepped forward, hand extended before remembering the briefing about alien customs. He quickly lowered his arm. "Jack Peterson, NASA engineer. I'm here to help." Kulvat made a sound like escaping steam. "This is who Earth sends. One being, with primitive tools." The translation came through a small device at the alien's neck. "I requested a team of your best experts," Captain Zilvex said, sounding confused. Jack smiled. "I am the team. Let's see what we're dealing with." As they led him through the ship, Jack noticed how the aliens moved cautiously, their bodies clearly adapted to lighter gravity. Meanwhile, he felt almost bouncy, like he could jump 10 feet if he tried. The damage was worse than he'd expected. Exposed wiring, strange crystals cracked in half, and something that looked like liquid metal pooled on the floor. Equipment he couldn't begin to identify lay in pieces. "Main engine controls are here," said Kulvat, pointing to a complex panel with symbols that shifted and changed. Quantum flux stabilizers failed, causing cascade through all systems. Artificial gravity operating at 40%. Life support stable but compromised. Jack whistled. "Okay, I need to understand how these systems connect. Can you show me the engine core?" First Officer Nixora stepped forward. "That area is highly restricted. Our quantum drive technology is not shared with pre-Confederation species." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, or sir, or whatever the right term is, I can't fix what I can't see." Captain Zilvex's scales changed color slightly. "Show him everything, First Officer. Our survival depends on it." The engine room was massive, dominated by a spherical chamber filled with swirling energy. Around it, alien engineers worked frantically, their movements becoming more agitated as Jack entered. "Deathworlder," one whispered, the translation coming through clearly. Others backed away slightly. "What's their problem?" Jack asked. Dr. Ilara appeared, her glowing skin casting soft light. "You must understand, humans are physically intimidating to us. Your planet's gravity, atmosphere, even your biological composition is extreme by our standards." Jack looked down at his hands, suddenly seeing himself through alien eyes. Dense muscle, thick bones, efficient lungs, all evolved to survive on a planet that would crush or poison these beings. "Well," he said, setting down his toolkit, "let's see if this Deathworlder can help you out." He turned to Kolvat. "Walk me through your systems, step by step. The quicker we start, the quicker we fix this mess." As the chief engineer began explaining, another tremor shook the ship. Warning lights flashed, and a klaxon sounded. "Radiation leak in Section 5, shouted an engineer. "Evacuate that section," ordered Captain Zilvex. Jack looked at the redouts, then at the frightened alien crew. He took a deep breath. "No time for a full briefing. Just point me toward the problem." "I'm going in." Captain Zilvex grabbed Jack's arm as he moved toward the radiation leak. The alien's grip was surprisingly gentle. "You cannot enter that section," the captain said. "The radiation levels are fatal." Jack checked the readings on the nearby screen. "Fatal for your species, maybe. Humans deal with radiation differently. I'll be okay for short exposure." This wasn't entirely true. Jack would face serious risk, but he calculated he had about 15 minutes before reaching dangerous levels. The aliens would die in seconds. "Let me do my job," Jack said firmly. Dr. Ilara stepped forward. "I will monitor his vital signs remotely. If they become critical, we pull him out immediately." Captain Zilvex reluctantly nodded. Jack grabbed a portable repair kit and headed toward Section 5. As the door sealed behind him, he felt alone in a way he never had before. The only human on an alien ship, surrounded by technology he barely understood. The radiation leak was coming from a cracked crystal rod inside a control panel. Strange symbols flashed on screens around him. Jack took a breath and focused. The underlying principles had to be similar to Earth technology. Contain the leak, repair the damage, restore the system. "Your heart rate is elevated." Dr. Ilara's voice came through his earpiece. "Body temperature rising." "I'm fine," Jack replied, working quickly. He used a tool from his kit to seal the crystal temporarily, then rerouted power around the damaged section. The radiation warning lights dimmed from red to yellow. By the time Jack returned to the main engineering bay, sweat soaked his shirt, and he felt slightly nauseated, early signs of radiation exposure. The alien crew stared at him with what he guessed was amazement. "The leak is contained," he announced, "but it's a temporary fix. We need to replace that crystal thing." Chief Engineer Kolvat's breathing apparatus made bubbling sounds. "Impossible. That is a quantum reception crystal. We have no spares, and they can only be created at Confederation shipyards." Jack ran a hand through his hair. "Then we need to think outside the box. What's its function?" As Kolvat explained the crystal's purpose, Jack noticed the aliens used technical terms that didn't translate well. His frustration grew. "Look, can you just tell me in plain language what the damn thing does?" The engineering bay went silent. First Officer Nixor's antennae quivered with what seemed like offense. Dr. Ilara moved closer. "I believe I can help." She touched Jack's temple lightly. "May I? This will help me understand your thought patterns." Jack hesitated, then nodded. A strange warmth spread through his mind as Dr. Ilara established a shallow telepathic link. She smiled. "Fascinating. Humans think in such vivid images and metaphors." She turned to Kolvat. "The crystal serves as a harmonic wave stabilizer, similar to what humans would call a power transformer, but it also modulates quantum field interactions. Now that I understand, Jack said with relief. Over the next few hours, Jack examined the ship's systems. The aliens were surprised by his physical capabilities. He could reach places they couldn't, lift objects that were heavy for them, and work longer without breaks. Your species evolved in high gravity with high oxygen content, Dr. Ilara observed. It makes you naturally stronger here. Jack grinned. First time my biology has been useful for something besides football. But cultural differences created problems too. Jack's casual humor confused the aliens. When he said the engine setup was a real Frankenstein, they spent 10 minutes trying to understand what Earth monster mythology had to do with their technology. The worst moment came when Jack suggested they bypass a safety protocol. Absolutely not, said First Officer Nick Sora. Confederation regulations are explicit. Regulations won't matter if this ship explodes, Jack countered. Captain Zilvex intervened. First Officer, I understand your concerns, but our situation is unprecedented. As they argued, warning alarms blared again. A ventilation system failure sent toxic gas flooding into the engineering section. Evacuate immediately, ordered Captain Zilvex. The alien crew rushed toward the exits. Jack checked his tablet. The gas was methane-based, deadly to the aliens, but merely unpleasant for humans. Instead of running, he grabbed tools and headed toward the ventilation controls. Jack, what are you doing? Dr. Ilara called out. That atmosphere will kill you. It won't, Jack called back. Methane isn't great for humans, but I can handle it for a while. From the safety of the sealed bridge, the alien crew watched in disbelief as Jack worked through the toxic cloud, manually resetting the ventilation system, while everyone else would have died within minutes. Deathworlder indeed, Captain Zilvex said softly. After restoring the ventilation system, Jack stumbled back to the bridge. His eyes were red, and he coughed several times, but otherwise seemed unharmed. The alien crew stared at him with new respect. That was incredibly brave, Captain Zilvex said. Thank you. Jack shrugged. Just doing my job. Now, I think I've figured out your main problem. He brought up a schematic on the main display. Even after hours of study, Jack only partially understood the alien technology, but he recognized patterns. Your quantum flux stabilizers failed, which caused a cascade effect. Fixing individual systems won't help because the root problem is still there. He pointed to a complex network of connections. The stabilizers are like the heart of your ship. We need to fix those first. Chief Engineer Kolvat made a sound like grinding metal. Impossible. The repair procedures require specialized equipment we do not have. The protocols are clear. Forget the protocols, Jack interrupted. I'm not talking about standard repairs. I'm talking about human-style fixes. First Officer Nick Sora's antennae twitched. Explain. Jack ran a hand through his hair. On Earth, we call it jury-rigging or McGivering. When you can't fix something properly, you find creative ways to make it work temporarily. The aliens exchanged confused glances. This is not acceptable, Chief Engineer Kolvat insisted. The quantum systems are too delicate for improvisation. Captain Zilvex studied Jack's face. What exactly do you propose? Jack opened his toolkit and pulled out several items. I can create manual bypasses for the damaged stabilizer circuits. It won't be pretty, and it won't last forever, but it should hold until you reach a proper repair facility. Using what? Kolvat demanded. Jack held up a roll of silver tape, duct tape, plus some wire, clamps, and good old-fashioned elbow grease. The engineering team erupted in protests. Dr. Ilara had to translate multiple alien languages at once as they objected to using primitive Earth materials on their advanced systems. Enough. Captain Zilvex raised all four arms for silence. Our situation grows more desperate by the hour. We have tried Confederation protocols without success. He turned to Jack. You have my authorization. Proceed with your McGivering. Over the next 6 hours, Jack worked alongside reluctant alien engineers. He created bypasses using materials from his toolkit combined with ship components. The aliens watched in horror as he wrapped duct tape around delicate crystal arrays, used manual clamps to secure power conduits, and in one memorable moment, fixed an alignment issue by hitting a panel with the handle of his screwdriver. "What are you doing?" shrieked an assistant engineer when Jack struck the equipment. "Percussive maintenance," Jack replied with a grin. "Sometimes things just need a good whack." Remarkably, each jury-rigged system stabilized. Kolvat monitored the readings with increasing amazement. The quantum field harmonics are stabilizing. This defies all engineering principles. Jack wiped sweat from his forehead. Sometimes you have to work with what you've got, not what the manual says you need. The biggest challenge came when they reached the main stabilizer control unit. The damage was extensive, requiring a complete redesign of the circuit pathways. "This cannot possibly work," First Officer Nixora said, watching Jack sketch an alternative configuration on his tablet. "Maybe not," Jack admitted, "but we don't have many options left." As Jack implemented his makeshift solution, connecting incompatible components with custom adapters he created from spare parts, the ship's lighting flickered ominously. "Power fluctuations increasing," reported an engineer. "Core stability at critical levels." The alien crew backed away, certain that Jack's unconventional repairs would fail catastrophically. Captain Zilvex remained, standing beside the human as he made the final connections. "Here goes nothing," Jack muttered, closing the circuit. For 3 terrifying seconds, nothing happened. Then the ship's lights steadied. The warning alarms fell silent. The gentle hum of properly functioning systems returned. On the main display, status indicators changed from red to yellow, then to green. "It worked," Captain Zilvex said, his scales shifting to a bright blue color that Jack guessed meant happiness or relief. The engineering bay erupted in alien cheers and whistles. Even Chief Engineer Kolvat seemed impressed, his breathing apparatus bubbling rapidly. "Your methods are unorthodox," the Chief Engineer admitted, "but effective." Jack smiled tiredly. Sometimes unorthodox is exactly what you need. The celebration was cut short by a blaring alarm. Tactical Officer Vresh rushed onto the bridge, all 4 arms moving in agitation. "Captain, sensors detect a debris field ahead. Old satellites and space junk from Earth's early space age." Captain Zilvex moved quickly to the command chair. "Can we navigate around it?" "Negative," said Vresh. "Our navigation systems are still compromised. Manual control is limited." Jack studied the sensor display. The debris field stretched for miles, a graveyard of abandoned satellites, rocket stages, and fragments from past collisions. At their current speed, they would reach it in 20 minutes. "We need to boost power to the shields," First Officer Nixora suggested. Chief Engineer Kolvat shook his head. "Shields are at minimum strength. The power grid cannot handle any increase." Jack thought for a moment. What about using the main engines in reverse? Create a controlled deceleration? "Impossible," Vresh said flatly. "The thrust vectors cannot be reversed while in motion." "According to your physics, maybe," Jack countered. "But Earth spacecraft use retrograde burns all the time." Captain Zilvex looked between them. "Explain your idea, Jack." Jack moved to the engine control panel. "If we reconfigure the propulsion matrix, we can create a counter-thrust. It'll be rough, but it might slow us enough to navigate manually through the debris." Kolvat made a sound like steam escaping. "The strain could tear apart our already damaged systems." "Better than hitting that junk at full speed," Jack replied. After a tense discussion, Captain Zilvex sided with Jack. "Proceed with your plan." Working frantically, Jack reconfigured the alien engines. He didn't fully understand the technology, but the principles of thrust and counter-thrust were universal. The ship shuddered violently as the engines fired in a pattern they weren't designed for. "Hull integrity holding," reported an engineer. "Speed decreasing." On the view screen, the debris field loomed closer. Even at reduced speed, a collision could be catastrophic. "We need someone on manual navigation," Jack said. "The computer can't react fast enough." Vresh took the controls, his multiple limbs allowing him to operate several systems at once. The ship lurched and groaned as it entered the debris field. A piece of old rocket casing scraped along the hull with a horrible screech. Warning lights flashed as smaller impacts peppered the ship's exterior. "Port stabilizer failing," Kolvat called out. Jack rushed to an auxiliary control panel. The ship's reduced gravity made him almost bounce, allowing him to move faster than the aliens expected. He quickly rerouted power, compensating for the failing stabilizer. "This defies our understanding of spatial dynamics," First Officer Nick Sora said, watching Jack work. "Sometimes you have to ignore theory and trust your gut," Jack replied, not looking up from his work. The largest piece of debris yet appeared directly ahead, an intact satellite the size of a small car. "Evasive maneuvers," Captain Zilvex ordered. Vresh tried to turn the ship, but the damaged systems responded sluggishly. The satellite loomed larger on the view screen. "Brace for impact," someone shouted. Jack had a sudden idea. "The tractor beam. Can we push it instead of pulling? That violates the fundamental principles off," Kolvat began. "Just try it," Jack interrupted. Captain Zilvex nodded sharply. "Do it." The tractor beam, normally used to pull objects toward the ship, was reversed. Instead of attracting the satellite, it created a repulsive force. The satellite shifted just enough for the ship to squeeze past, missing by mere feet. The bridge crew sat in stunned silence as they cleared the last of the debris field. "We survived," First Officer Nick Sora said, her voice filled with disbelief. Jack's legs suddenly felt weak. He grabbed a nearby console for support, the adrenaline crash hitting him hard. The alien environment was taking its toll. The different air composition, the radiation exposure, the constant stress, and too little sleep. Dr. Ilara noticed immediately. "You need rest. Your vital signs are concerning." Jack tried to wave her off. "I'm fine. Just need a minute." Captain Zilvex approached. "You have done more than enough, Jack Peterson. Your Deathworld physiology has limits, even if they exceed ours. Dr. Ilara will see to your recovery while we continue repairs." For once, Jack didn't argue. As Dr. Ilara led him from the bridge, he heard First Officer Nick Sora speaking quietly to the captain. "Perhaps I was wrong about humans," she said. "Their unorthodox thinking, it may be as valuable as their physical strength." Captain Zilvex nodded. "Indeed. And we have only seen what one human can do." Jack woke up in the medical bay, feeling much better after 6 hours of sleep. Dr. Ilara had given him a special treatment that helped his body recover from radiation exposure and exhaustion. The glowing Lumidian was checking his vital signs when Captain Zilvex entered. "Good news," the captain said. "Earth has responded to our request for additional assistance. They're sending another human engineer." Jack sat up. "That's great. Who are they sending?" "Her name is Lisa Reyes. She will arrive in 8 hours with specialized equipment." Jack knew Lisa by reputation. Brilliant, methodical, and detail-oriented. They had completely different approaches to engineering problems, which might be exactly what they needed. As Jack returned to the engineering bay, he noticed a change in how the alien crew treated him. Instead of fear or doubt, he saw curiosity. Several crew members approached him with questions about Earth. "Is it true humans drink liquid containing ethanol for pleasure?" asked a young engineer. "Do humans really sleep for 8 hours every day?" wondered another. Jack answered their questions while continuing his work. He explained baseball, pizza, and the concept of pets to fascinated aliens who had never considered keeping animals for companionship. Dr. Ilara joined him while he was fixing a coolant system. "The crew is very interested in you," she observed. "Your species has surprised us." "How so?" Jack asked, tightening a connection. When we first discovered Earth, our scientists classified humans as dangerous primitives. But now we see your adaptability, your creative thinking. It's remarkable." She paused. "Would you mind if I studied your thought patterns more deeply? It could help us understand each other better." Jack agreed. Through their deeper telepathic connection, Dr. Ilaret explained how different alien species thought. Rylosians like Kolvat processed information in strict logical sequences. Elysians like Nyxora thought in flowing, interconnected patterns. But humans like Jack thought in leaps and jumps, making connections that sometimes defied logical progression. "Your species evolved facing constant threats," Dr. Ilara explained. "You had to solve problems quickly or die. It created minds that can see unusual solutions." When Lisa Rice arrived, she brought advanced diagnostic equipment and fresh supplies. Her first meeting with Jack was typically direct. "You duct-taped a quantum stabilizer?" she asked, looking at his repairs. "It worked, didn't it?" Jack replied with a grin. Lisa shook her head but smiled slightly. "Let's see what we're dealing with." The two humans approached problems differently. Where Jack used intuition and improvisation, Lisa applied systematic analysis. Their contrasting methods confused the aliens at first, but soon demonstrated the diversity of human problem-solving. "Your species contains such variation," Captain Zilvex commented, watching them work together. "Even among just two individuals." While examining the engine systems, Lisa discovered something Jack had missed, a fundamental design flaw in the Confederation's standard engine configuration. "Look at this," she said, showing Jack her findings. "Their power distribution matrix creates harmonic resonance under specific conditions." Jack studied the data. "That might explain why the stabilizers failed in the first place. We should tell them." Together, they presented their discovery to Chief Engineer Kolvat and Captain Zilvex. Lisa explained the technical details while Jack described a simple fix based on Earth engineering principles. "This cannot be correct," Kolvat insisted. "Our designs have been refined over centuries." "Sometimes fresh eyes see what experts miss," Lisa said diplomatically. Captain Zilvex considered their proposal. "If they are right, this could prevent similar failures across the fleet." First Officer Nyxora, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "I believe we should listen to them. These humans have proven their worth." Jack noticed how much Nyxora had changed since their first meeting. Her initial fear had become respect. With the captain's approval, Jack and Lisa began implementing their modified design. As they worked, more crew members approached them with questions, not just about repairs, but about Earth culture, human biology, and life on a death world. "They're not afraid of us anymore," Lisa observed. Jack nodded. "They're starting to see us as people, not just Deathworlders." As the modifications neared completion, the ship's systems showed marked improvement. The aliens watched in amazement as the humans' primitive solution solved a problem their advanced civilization had missed. Just as the ship's systems stabilized, a new alarm blared across the bridge. This one had a different tone. Lower, more urgent. "Captain, the AI core is failing," reported an officer, her tentacles moving frantically over the control panel. Captain Zilvex turned to Chief Engineer Kolvat. "How is this possible? The core was not damaged in the initial incident." Kolvat checked the diagnostics. "The power surges from our repairs must have corrupted its neural matrix. It's shutting down protective systems one by one." "What happens if the AI core fails completely?" Jack asked. The bridge went silent before First Officer Nyxora answered. "The AI manages life support, navigation, and power distribution. Without it, we have perhaps 4 hours before systems fail catastrophically." Lisa studied the schematics on a nearby screen. "Can't you restart it or reboot from a backup?" "The core must maintain quantum coherence," explained Kolvat. "A restart requires physical realignment of the matrix crystals while power is flowing through them. No computer can do this. It requires sentient adjustment based on real-time readings. Then someone needs to go in and do it manually." Jack said. Captain Zilvex shook his head. Impossible. The core chamber is flooded with radiation when active. No one could survive the exposure long enough to complete the realignment. Jack and Lisa exchanged looks. How long would it take? Lisa asked. Perhaps 10 minutes to align all crystals correctly, said Kulvat. But the radiation may affect your species differently than ours. Jack interrupted. What kind of radiation are we talking about? Dr. Ilara brought up the specifications, primarily gamma radiation with theta particle emissions, fatal to all Confederation species within seconds. Lisa calculated something on her tablet. Jack, even with our physiology, this is beyond safe limits. We're talking about severe radiation poisoning, possibly fatal. Jack looked at the schematics again. If we create some shielding, maybe use materials from my suit. It would not be enough, Captain Zilvex said firmly. I cannot allow such a sacrifice. The discussion continued as they sought alternatives, but each passing minute brought them closer to system failure. Jack slipped away during the debate and made his way to the AI core chamber. He knew it was possibly suicidal, but he couldn't see another option. Lisa caught him gathering supplies. What are you doing? What needs to be done? Jack replied. I've had radiation exposure before. I've seen the procedure. I can do this. Lisa grabbed his arm. Not alone you can't. You'll need someone monitoring the readings and talking you through the alignment. The radiation will affect your vision and judgment within minutes. They quickly devised a plan. Lisa would remain outside the chamber at a monitoring station, guiding Jack through the procedure. When they reached the AI core, alarms were blaring throughout the ship. Systems were failing across all decks. They had no more time for debate. Jack put on all the protection he could improvise, extra layers of clothing, a modified face shield, and lead sheets wrapped around his torso. It wasn't nearly enough, but it might buy him the time he needed. Ready? Lisa asked, her face tight with worry. Jack nodded. Talk me through it. He entered the chamber and immediately felt the radiation washing over him. The core itself was beautiful. A sphere of swirling crystal matrices shot through with pulses of blue light. Already, some sections were dark, the crystals misaligned. Start with the primary matrix on your left. Lisa's voice directed through his earpiece. You need to rotate it 15 degrees clockwise. Jack's hands felt clumsy as he made the adjustment. The radiation was already affecting him. Sweat poured down his face, and his vision blurred slightly. Good. Now move to the secondary array. Outside the chamber, the alien crew gathered, watching in horror and amazement as the human willingly endured conditions that would kill them instantly. His body temperature is spiking, Dr. Ilara reported, monitoring Jack's vital signs. Heart rate dangerously elevated. Jack's movements grew slower as he progressed through the alignments. His skin reddened visibly, and blood began to seep from his nose. 3 more to go. Lisa encouraged him. You can do this, Jack. Captain Zilvex watched the life support readings begin to stabilize as each crystal aligned. He's actually doing it, he whispered. Jack's vision was tunneling now, darkness creeping in from the edges. His hand shook as he aligned the final crystal. Perfect, Lisa said, her voice breaking. That's the last one. Get out of there now. Jack turned toward the exit but collapsed to his knees. The radiation had taken too great a toll. With the last of his strength, he crawled toward the door as the AI core hummed back to life around him. When the chamber door opened, Dr. Ilara and medical staff rushed in with protective gear. Jack was unconscious, his skin blistered and red, but the ship's systems were restored. Jack floated in darkness, vaguely aware of voices around him. Sometimes he felt cool hands on his burning skin. Other times, strange lights pulsed through his closed eyelids. The pain came and went in waves. 3 days passed before Jack opened his eyes in the medical bay. Dr. Ilara stood beside his bed, her skin glowing softly in the dimmed light. Several medical devices he didn't recognize were attached to his body. Welcome back, she said gently. "We were not certain you would survive." Jack's voice was rough. "The ship, fully functional, thanks to you." She helped him sip water through a straw. "We used every treatment we know for radiation poisoning. Your physiology responded remarkably well." Lisa appeared at the doorway, relief clear on her face. "You look terrible," she said with a small smile. "Thanks," Jack croaked. Captain Zilvex entered the medical bay with First Officer Nixora and Chief Engineer Kulvat. All three aliens bowed deeply to Jack. "No human has ever received the Confederation Medal of Honor," Captain Zilvex said, placing a small crystal emblem on Jack's bedside table. "Until now." Jack tried to sit up but was too weak. "I just did what needed doing." "You knowingly risk your life for a crew not of your species," said First Officer Nixora. "There is no greater courage." Over the next week, Jack slowly recovered. The alien medical technology, while not designed for humans, proved effective. During his recovery, Captain Zilvex made contact with Confederation headquarters, recommending Earth for accelerated membership consideration. "Your species has qualities the Confederation needs," he explained to Jack and Lisa. "Not just physical strength, but adaptability and innovative thinking." On the day the celestial Voyager prepared to depart Earth orbit, now fully repaired, the crew gathered to bid farewell to the humans. Chief Engineer Kulvat approached Jack with an unexpected request. "Our engineering corps would benefit from human perspectives," he said. "Would you consider establishing a training program? Perhaps an exchange of engineers?" Jack looked at Lisa, who nodded enthusiastically. "I think that could be arranged." As Captain Zilvex prepared to address Earth's governments via video link, Jack overheard two alien crew members talking. "Did you hear? The Council is recommending all ships include at least one Deathworlder in their engineering teams. After what we saw, I'm not surprised. I would feel safer with a human aboard." Jack smiled. The word Deathworlder no longer sounded like an insult. 1 year later, Jack stood in a lecture hall at the newly established Confederation Engineering Academy in Houston. Before him sat a class of 30 students, 15 humans and 15 aliens from various species. They were the first cohort of a new integrated training program. "Engineering isn't just about following protocols," Jack told them. "It's about understanding principles and applying them creatively when the situation demands it." At the back of the room, First Officer Nixora, now Captain Nixora of her own exploration vessel, watched with approval. She had specifically requested human engineers for her crew. After class, she approached Jack. "My ship departs next month to explore the Beta Quadrant. The Confederation has assigned Lisa Reyes as my chief engineer, but we have a position open for an engineering consultant. Someone who thinks differently." Jack grinned. "Are you offering me a job, Captain?" "I am offering you an adventure, Jack Peterson, and the chance to show more of the Confederation what humans can do." That evening, Jack sat on his porch, looking up at the stars. Before meeting the aliens, his world had seemed so large, his horizon so distant. Now the entire galaxy was opening up. His phone beeped with a message from Lisa. "Said yes to the Beta Quadrant mission. You in?" Jack sent back one word: "Absolutely." As he continued gazing at the stars, Jack thought about how one emergency repair had changed everything. Humans were no longer seen as primitive Deathworlders, but valued allies. The very traits that made Earth challenging, the gravity, the radiation, the constant threats that forged human innovation, had proven to be strengths, not limitations. The universe, it turned out, needed Deathworlders after all.